Hello everybody. 3D rendering is a tricky thing. You see, it's quite complicated, but I'm gonna give you a step-by-step rundown as to how I make renders. Like, today I'm gonna be showing you how I make this render. So, we start by opening up Blender, which, it's an amazing program where all you have to do is just type in blender.org. Not Blendy. Blender.org. And click on that, download the newest version. I'm not going to because I don't want to right now. So, then you're going to have a scene. Now, I have a special type of scene where you can basically set your own startup file. I'll give a little rundown through everything that I've done. Basically, in the dimensions area, I switched the rendering engine to Cycles. Cycles allows for realistic lighting where there's all these complicated raycasts and emission and reflections, all that good stuff. I set the feature set to experimental because there's always a lot of great stuff on experimental. A lot of stuff that should just be in the normal program on its own. And I set GPU compute. This makes it so much faster. Now, for the specific way that I render, I don't have super detailed renders usually, so I like to have 128 samples for my render, and 512 by 512 tiles for rendering. Now, if I were to just Shift A to add a mesh, and I'll add a cube, and I will press F12 to render it, and you see the cube. Now, currently it is still loading, but you get the idea. It does. I have a couple other things that happens after. In here, I turn on denoising data, because denoising data is always so useful, because you can take a super noisy image. You'll see later. I'll show you. But basically, it puts it through this AI-based denoising node, and you end up with a crisp, clean render. So, we'll delete everything except for the camera by selecting everything and then pressing X. And what I like to do is I like to actually close out of Blender. Now, I have a Minecraft world that I've already made look nice. I've already got all my whole build set up. So I have this program called Mineways that I will pull up a tab and type in Mineways right here. This is the website where you can download it. I've already downloaded it. So just pretend I've downloaded it. I have it in here, right here. So now you actually have the choice. Do you want to do some kind of resource pack? You can do that. I just looking up a video. I'm not going to get into how you do these, but I do have one for the bare bones resource pack, which is the same kind of resource pack that they use for promo art. I think this time around I'm just going to go for the default resource pack. But yeah, so you'll want to run mineways.exe. Go to File, Open World, and this should automatically go to your worlds list. Now, I have one right here. It should right here, Savannah. And if you already have your player in the area where you want to go, you can just press F3, and it will automatically jump to the player. I think I might have to view the Nether. Here we go. And this is the area. Now, you just want to find if you have any specific structures, just look for that structure. Sometimes it's a little hard, especially in the Nether, because the Nether, only has specific layers you can see through. So it might be a little bit hard, just for me, because I'm not too sure how to navigate. I might have to pull up a. All right, so I'm gonna have to pull up the world so I can see where it is. Now I don't really want to show the world yet. I'm just gonna look at the chords. All right, so minus 461, minus 256. All right. So minus 461. So it's, oh, here it is, alright. So we'll just select, like, this area. Click yes. Kind of adjust the depth until you've got just about what you want. And lower that to your liking. And then hit file, export for rendering. You know what you want. And you're done. Now, you can do a couple different things for these. You're not going to want to worry about this area, because that's all 3D printing stuff, and if you're not 3D printing, then you're just going to worry about this side. So, I usually have it export full color texture patterns, create files themselves, export separate types, and I like to split by block type, and make, wait no, I don't split by block type, I make groups objects, and I turn off material per family. And that's all good. So I will now click OK. It will export, and we have these files now. So we can, I'm not going to X out of this because I'm actually going to use it in a moment for a separate thing. But now we'll open up Blender, and we'll import an OBJ. Go to desktop, or whatever you saved it, and select the OBJ and click import OBJ. Now, when you are importing a large OBJ, it will do this weird loady thingy, but then you'll have your world. Now, I chose a pretty small set, because it's mostly going to be on the inside, and you'll immediately see some things that are wrong. If I just do view navigation, walk navigation, you'll immediately see how it's kind of a mess. Everything is blurry, and there's no transparency. This is terrible. So what you want to do is you want to go to shading, the shading tab right here, and what you're going to do is you're going to want to go to this tab over here and go to viewport display and turn both of these to alpha hashed. This will get rid of the transparency problem. And then you want to go to these files here, the RGBA and alpha, and you're just going to change that little thing from linear to closest. This changes the scaling from linear scaling to closest neighbor, which basically makes pixels still pixels even when you scale them up. So now I'm just trying to get my way back to the walk navigation. And yeah, we have a nice scene. There's a problem though. If I am to move the camera over here with Control-Alt-0 and I'm to render, you'll notice an immediate problem. And the render doesn't even have to finish for you to notice a problem. The lava is not glowing, nor is the sea lantern. So we're going to have to mainly go through these and actually add a new material. So we're going to add a new material called, let's just keep it the same name, MC Material Light. Alright, so I'm going to select all these nodes by pressing A, then I'm going to copy them, Control C, and then we're going to press X to delete the past nodes, and we're going to click Control V to paste them. And we will now go around and select any object that produces light. Alright, so we've selected all of these, so now we've selected all these light emitting blocks. So now all we have to do is just go to this little circle thingy, click MC Material Light. Now, right now this won't do anything. It's all still the same because it's still a carbon copy. But what you can do is go over here, and we're gonna add a, so do Shift A, type in the search box, we're gonna type in mix. And we're gonna go right here. We're just gonna click. And I'm not sure if that might not work for you. So if you can't just put it in the middle, then do the same thing, except take this, place it in here, take this, put it in here. Then you want to do Shift A again, and type in a mission, and we're going to want to put this in here, and we're done. And then we're going to want to put this in here, and I like to usually put the strength at 5, and we're done. I'll go into a special mode, which will make everything kind of blurry, but will also let you get to see the rendering, which is rendered view, by pressing Z, and it doesn't work. So you see, the reason why this doesn't work is because I think I only set it to 1 block on accident. Now this can happen sometimes. There are times when you try to select something and change the material, but it doesn't do it correctly, and you end up with something that doesn't work. Which is fine. All you have to do is just go through all those previously stated objects and manually apply it. Now, I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's kind of boring. Alright, and we're back. Sorry for that little inconvenience. Also, another thing, since this is a new material, we're going to want to go back down into viewport display and make sure both of those are alpha hashed. Now, if we press Z and go to rendered view, you will see how the lava emits light. And you can adjust this on the slider as much as you want, as little as you want. But you see it's the same thing for the lanterns too. If you I like to stay in material preview because it looks nicer than solid view, but you don't have to. Navigation, walk navigation, and if I get close up on this lantern, you'll see when I go into rendered view, it emits some of its own light. Now this is how you set up your world, and from here you can really do whatever you want. Now, I'm just going to try and get my camera in a good place for the set, and I'll get back to you. Alright, and I found a good spot, and now I'm going to move my camera over here. So I'll do Control-Alt-0 on the number pad. I forgot to say that. It's not the top line, it's actually the number pad. And if you have this problem where it doesn't show past a certain point, you can go into the camera settings, which should open automatically if you first do the Control-Alt-0, or you can just navigate to the tab, and we'll just pull that end out to where we need it. So yeah, now you have your scene, but you want people in it. You want other objects in it, which is very understandable. So first of all, I'm gonna clean up my scene a little bit. I'm gonna add a new collection. I'm gonna call it World. And I'm just gonna take all of these, except for the camera. Wait. All of these by shift clicking, and I'll control click the camera twice to deselect it. And then I'll just throw all that into the world. There you go. And now, we will add, let's say we want something else from a world, but we want it to be able to move differently. I had this idea recently. What if I had like a nether boat? Wouldn't that be cool? So I went and made one, and I'll just have to fly to it. So I need to know the coordinates, so I can go there. So here it is. Here's the boat. And let me just check the coordinates. Minus 600, minus 135. Alright. So minus 600, minus 135. Oh, here it is. So we'll just zoom in so we get roughly like an exact size, and we'll just yoink that. Set the depth to 50. We'll just click yes because it's probably doing something good. Then we will find the highest point of this thing. We'll say 62 down to 50. All right, 62 down to 50. So we'll bring this. We'll say 62 down to 50. All right, just like that. Click export for rendering. We'll call this another boat. Click save. Do all the same things. And it's exported. So now we'll go back into Blender, click File, Import, OBJ, netherboat.obj. So the first instinct of the program is to make new materials for the objects. That is not necessary. What we can do instead is first we will pull these out of here and we'll actually put them in the normal collection because we want these to be in a new collection we call boat. And take all these except for the camera, put them in the boat. Alright. So first, before we do any of the material stuff, let me just move it up. G, Z, and then just drag up. Because there are a couple things we need to delete first. So, first things first, for everything in here, we're going to change the material to MC material. Alright, so I've changed the materials of all of these. I can close that now. And I will select the lava and the netherrack in this section and just delete it. So now we only have the boat. Alright. So I want the boat to move as one whole object. And there are a couple ways I could do this. I could manually join each of these elements, and it would work. But I do want the flexibility just in case I want to do something with this. So instead, I will Shift A to add an empty, which is right here. I'll add a plane axis empty. I'll G, Z, and I'll get closer to the boat. And I kind of want to get to the middle lower part of the boat. So I'm going to press 1 on the number pad to go into orthographic view. I will then press 5 to exit orthographic view, and this is just so I can get the correct perspective that I need. And then I'll press G. Now, if you don't press either Z, X, or Y, you can actually have non-restrictive movement, and you can move it wherever. It is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because sometimes it will move in places where you don't want it to move, but other than that, it works. So I'm going to move it right here, and I'm going to go to this view, I'm sorry, this is really bothering me. I forgot to fix this one piece. Alright, there we go. I will then check on this side. It's in the middle. Does not seem to be so, so I'll just select the empty and move to the middle. There we go. So what we want to do now is we want to take that empty. We want to take everything else in here. We want to make the empty the primary the primary selected object. I want to click Control P, and I'm going to click on Object. And also for all of these objects, we're going to want to set origin to geometry. Now we can take this empty, and if we rotate it by pressing R, or move it by pressing G, you'll see it will move along. The boat will move along with it. So I'm going to move it down into the lava. And I think this looks nice. So I'll just do a little bit more, you know, tweaking and stuff, and I'll get back to you. So I've tweaked the placement of the boat, and I've just realized I might have to move the camera so I can fully show the boat. Sorry, I've noticed a little problem with the fire. I'll have to go back into shading, and I just have to do something with the I think you notice what's going on here. I think all I have to do is just put that in the FAC. Yep, and it's fixed. So just take this alpha, put it in the Mix Shaders FAC, and it should be all fixed. And don't worry that what's behind this ship isn't anything. We will get that sorted out. So you might now be thinking, okay, this is cool. You know, you have the dynamic objects and the worlds and stuff, but I want players to like be in it. I want, you know, I want a little guy that I can move and stuff. I'm gonna teach you a little bit about Blender plugins, which basically, if you go to Edit, then Preferences, there should be a little thing called add-ons. I'm sorry, not plugins, add-ons. And there should be all these different types. There are ones that are already like loaded in that you just have to enable, or you can install ones that you find on the internet. So there's one that I really recommend called MC Prep. It's a very nice Blender add-on, and it's got a lot of stuff. So I'm not gonna download one because I already have it, but there's a lot of cool stuff that comes with it. I only use it for this one reason, which is that there is a there's a spawner, and even then I barely ever use a spawner. But they're player mobs, and there are multiple different types, all for whatever you want, but I like just a simple player, and I'll move it up here. I'll press the dash button, not dash, I mean I'll press the slash button on the bottom right of your keyboard to center to a local object, and then, you know, we have this nice Steve. So from here, you can select this armature, and you can do Control-Tab, select one of the bones, and hit R, and play around like that. Or there is a tool right here that you can click, which gives you more control. I use this a lot. But me personally, I don't use any of these because these these make the player bend, and I don't like bending arms. I really don't like bending arms. It's not very Minecrafty. Like, you know, people can like what they like, but I do not like this. So, I usually scrap pretty much everything from this, except for the mesh. So, I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to spawn in my own thing that I use. So I go to I click append. So appending is basically taking an object from, or taking any element from another Blender project and slapping it into this specific one. So I have some renders, you know, and in here I have all them out here. So I'm gonna select the one that I want to get Steve from, and you'll want to navigate. You can just double click on the blend to open it up, and then go to collection if you're looking for an object, and there should be different collections. I'm gonna select Jhala, which is actually Steve, but I like to repurpose meshes, so this was made for a friend, but it is also my Steve mesh. So then go into this view, and you see it's the same exact armature with a couple different things. So we'll go Control Tab, and I'm going to completely reset his rotation by selecting A for selecting all the bones, do Alt R and Alt G. That resets the rotation and position. So I'll do Control Tab again, go back into object mode, and now we have this. So place it wherever you want and pose it however you want, like I'm going to do, and I'll get back to you. When you are posing, you don't just have to rotate the bones, you can actually move them too. So, like this. And that makes it really, really useful if you want to get more expressive movement, especially when you're limiting yourself, like I am, to not moving the bones, or to not making the joints bend. Alright, so I finished posing, and here's the final step. If you don't need any kind of background, and you're okay with just it ending in a gray void, then you can just simply press F12. And then wait. If you don't like lighting, you can always add lights, or you can add objects that can do light. But personally, I'm happy with the lighting. And yeah, that's your render. Alright, so I'm in the middle of rendering, but I just want to show you something real quick. If I zoom in, you'll notice how terribly, terribly grainy this all is. Now, as I render through more samples, it is making it less grainy, but, I mean, do you know what that is? Can you recognize what that is? No, you can't. So as we will observe in a moment, the rendered image and a ton of other information is getting sent to an AI, which will then read it and try to lower the amount of noise in the image. So, as we watch, I'd like you to look closely at the noise and see how it almost instantly disappears. And you saw it here. Pretty much all of the noise went away, and now all you see is just the normal texture. Yeah, that's how you render something. So now it will be saved in your rendering tab, and you can look at it. And, ooh, look how amazing that looks. One problem. Gray void. Don't like that. So there are a couple ways you could do this to rid yourself of the gray void. Now, I'm just going to choose a super easy way that I only thought of recently, which was to just get on some shaders. So I guess if your computer can't handle shaders, then, you know, skip this step, or, you know, go to my other step. Just crank up that render distance a little bit. This is going to kill my computer. Just 45 chunks. Whatever your computer can handle. Try to turn off any special post-processing stuff. Just turn it all to like 1 or 0. Oh dear. So I think I will get a shot of this. This looks like a cool background. So just press F1 and press F2. Alright, that's my screenshot. So I will now open up that screenshot, and I will turn my render distance to 3 to compensate. So with this, I can... I'm looking for, okay, file info. We'll copy the folder path, and then we'll go to File Explorer. Just put that in, and we'll look for that picture. It's right here. So, oh, actually, one more thing. If you are going to do my method, you're going to want to go in here to your rendering. Go to Film, and just click Transparent. Trust me, this will save you, because it will make it so it's all transparent, and you can easily import it into Photoshop. Foreground. So I can now minimize Blender, and you can open up any program that you have. I have Photoshop, so I'm going to use that, but you know, you can use whatever you want. Alright, so now I'm just going to drag this in, and we have our house. And I'm also going to drag in the screenshot. Now, if I don't find that, if I don't seem to like this, I can, you know, change it. But for now, I'm just gonna move where it is. So do Control A to select it all, Control T, I believe. Alright, I found it. So under Edit, Transform, there is Perspective. Alright, I think I'm happy with what I have. So then, I'm just gonna click File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. And there we go. There's my final render. I can save the Photoshop thing if I want, or maybe I can I don't know, add some special effects. I'll add some fog or something. I just do this by I have a brush asset pack, so just use that. As you can see, both waves are usable. And yeah, I think I did a pretty good job with this. Using my tips, tricks, and tutorial, I'd like to see what you make. Send me a DM. I have a Reddit account, and I also have a Twitter, but I don't really check that much. But maybe I'll use it more. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later. Hey, yeah, this is post-editing Tofu speaking here. Just saying, sorry for a little bit of the jankiness in that video, but a like, subscribe, and share with your friends is appreciated. Don't forget to hit that bell. Alright, I'll catch you next time.